This opening was rough. How can we fix it? Hi, I'm Kivy.
And I'm Paul Zajac.
Welcome to DnDSPN, the channel where we smash together Dungeons and Dragons live play with sports commentary.
One of the reasons why I started this channel was to learn about what I'm doing wrong. And I think that this was an example of something that could have gone better for sure. It's the beginning of the adventure. Not an uncommon thing where there's a quest giver. Let's take a look and then we'll talk about it.
She agrees that there could be a cult involved, as is often the case.
This is the quest giver.
She says that you can expect danger, and if you agree to help, she wants to, somehow protect you, and is able to give each one of you one potion of healing, so you can add that to your inventories. Do you have any, she's going to provide you a boat. She gives you directions of how to navigate up the river and where to expect the island. Do you need any more information?
Okay, so we saw there me delivering a pretty straightforward, this is the mission, this is what you get. And I could have continued the clip a little bit longer, but there was definitely a beat there where people are just like, okay. And this made me start thinking about, instead of having a quest giver, what else can you do? And there's lots of different things you can do. I do want to talk about some of those things. Kivy, first, what are your thoughts?
A couple things on this one. A lot of times when you give players a lot of information, it does take a while for them to basically marinate in that. And that can make some of the pacing of early missions kind of clunky. I know that there are some DMs who are very focused on kind of how to better improve the one shot. And one of the ways they do that is the players already know the mission. We assume their characters have accepted the mission and they are on their way. They're on the road. They're already a party. There's no buy-in because out of character, the players have already done that. So they can get right into the action. When you have a quest giver and there's that exposition, the questions part of things, you're kind of dealing more with the players than you are with the characters. So when you skip that part, you basically are letting them just get right into character. Because, we want to think that we would be as kind of ready with the quips and the good questions and be, I always joke I shouldn't play intelligent characters because I reveal myself a little bit. But no, I think I think that's why sometimes you see this little bit of clunkiness. A lot of players do like it because it's a very traditional way to start a game. But you have to kind of, as a DM, expect there's going to be pauses, especially when you ask them if there's any questions. So.
Right, yeah. So I do like that suggestion that you just skip the whole intro and then you're in the mission, and certainly that's one way to go about it. I think another thing I could have done was in this mission, the potential threat was coming from a cult who is stealing people's memories and also their grief. And so you could have had something like a grief-stricken person at the beginning of the adventure, and the party has to rescue them. And I think that would have been good. But I suppose one reason not to do that is that it's another scene, and you're playing a one-shot, and there's a limited amount of time. So in thinking about Adventure Beginnings, I went back and looked through all the major modules or adventures that Wizards of the Coast put out for 5th edition. And I'll just kind of briefly read some facts. We'll put an infographic up here. I think of the 16 adventures or so that I looked at, 6 out of the 16 started with a quest giver, and an additional 1 of them had an off-screen quest giver. 5 out of the 16 adventures had exploration scenes that started first. And then 2 out of the adventures started with combat, and then a final 2 of them used all 3 exploration, combat, and some sort of exposition or quest giver. Interestingly, when I compared that to the book from which this small adventure was taken from, Adventures in Faerun, there's 32 adventures in that book, I think, and 30 of them had a quest giver. And so it's like it's probably because it's just easy to do, right? And it's quick and it gets you out of the gate, but there's a danger of it being boring. I think you just have to take it for what it is. Sometimes the quest giver is okay. Let's do it. And if you like you said, if you eliminate the quest giver and you're just on the mission, the quest giving still happens. It happens like out of out of game,
Yeah.
right? And so if you want to do that out of game or in game, you still have to do it. This makes me think also of the one episode that we did on the ways to get players into the game. Was an 80s montage intro where you can have a little introductory scene for each player character, and that might be a way of getting the juices rolling so that there's something more than just like, what do we do now? I don't know. Those are my thoughts. Anything else, Kibby?
I know sometimes when I start with, I've taught a lot of new people how to play the game. And a lot of ways I do that is you've already agreed to do the mission, and then you're just basically right in the action. An inciting incident happens and you're there. Because I think sometimes asking players to do a lot of like early role play or ask questions or things like that can kind of take them out of the game that you want to be playing. So lots of different ways to start a game. There's no real wrong way to do it other than to not start at all. So
that's fair. Okay. Thanks for watching. If you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe. And if you want to watch the full adventure from which this clip was taken, you can watch it on our second channel, DnDSPN 2, The Deuce. Thanks for watching.